Good day. Welcome to First Take exclusively on YouTube. Here with two YouTube sensations, Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith. Lots of hoops. Let's get it, fellas. Joel Embiid, my goodness, 70 points, breaks Wilt Chamberlain's 76ers record. Embiid set the mark in the 133-123 win over the Spurs. Embiid also had 18 rebounds, 5 assists. He's the first player in NBA history with 70 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists in a game. Embiid, do you know how major this is?
Wilt ever did this?
No, sir. Just
you and MJ. How crazy is that?
I don't believe that. Although, it's nice. Obviously, you got, some of the best basketball players, ever play basketball. So, to be in that class, it's great. But like I said, it doesn't really mean anything until, you win the whole thing. So that's what I'm working towards. And, whether that happens or not, I'm going to try until I can't anymore.
I don't know if you saw Joel Embiid score 70. Cat had 60.
70?
Yeah. Joel had 70 today.
58 through 3.
He had 70?
Yeah. So what did nights like tonight mean in the NBA?
Okay, so Joel Embiid just went off Monday night versus the Spurs, dropping 70 points, as we just said, became the first player ever with at least 70 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. He joins Wilt Chamberlain and David Robinson as the only centers with a 70-point game. He did that in just under 37 minutes, the fewest in a 70-point game ever. Okay, I spewed a lot of numbers at you, but what I'm trying to tell you folks at home is that's really, really impressive. Stephen A., do you think Embiid, though, could carry the Sixers, I'm talking all the way to a championship?
Well, for me, I think that Boston, Denver, and the Los Angeles Clippers are too good for one man, even one as great as Joel Embiid, to pull it off by himself. Tyrese Maxey has to continue to average 25 a game. A real key for me would be Tobias Harris being that third wheel. I think he needs to go from 17 to about 20 a game. Be efficient offensively and assertive when it calls for. Don't fade from the moment. He needs to be aggressive. He has the skill set to pull it off. But Shannon, here's a stat that I want to throw to you. 38 points per 36 minutes this season by Joel Embiid. Currently ranks first in NBA history, just ahead of Wilt Chamberlain, who averaged 37.4 points per 36 minutes in the 1961-62 season. To put into perspective the level of greatness that we're witnessing from Joel Embiid at this particular moment in time. When you put forth that level of greatness, that level of dominance, okay, and you're that big and formidable because he's 7'1", and he's a formidable defensive player. He can block shots, he can rebound, he can do all of those things. And he continues to play this way offensively. The three teams that I mentioned, only one of them being in the Eastern Conference, that's what it would take in order to stop him from capturing the championship.
Well, since you started with Wilt Chamberlain, do you realize that he's on pace? He scored more points than minutes played. He has 60 more points scored than minutes played. That's how efficient and effective that he's been. And I agree with you. It's hard for me to see a scenario, especially in today's game, in which one man can beat an entire team. Now, if Tyrese Maxey stays on the pace that I like Tobias Harris. The question is, Stephen A., can he play like this come playoff time? Will he still give me my 17? Because if he does, I already know what Joel Embiid is. Now, hopefully he doesn't wear himself down, because I remember game 6 and 7 last year against the Boston Celtics, Joel Embiid wore himself down. Can he play at this level? Because the games are going to come rather quickly, and teams get to hone in. It's not, okay, you're playing the Spurs tonight, and then you're playing Golden State, you're playing somebody else. A team gets to focus in on you. It's hard for me to see that he can beat the Boston Celtics by himself without Tyrese Maxey continue to play at this level and Tobias Harris continue to play at this level. But we haven't seen anything like this, not from a big, since Wilt Chamberlain. Let me take this back. Maybe if you go back to Kareem, people don't realize how good Milwaukee Kareem was.
Well, they do. I mean, when we talk, listen, the reason why you have a GOAT debate that involves LeBron, MJ, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is because people remember what the hell he was doing before he got to the Lakers.
Steve, we remember. We remember because we're basketball historians and we appreciate the game. But you and I both don't think Kareem get the credit that he deserves.
That's true.
Because you look at his numbers, he was sensational early on. He was Joel Embiid before Joel Embiid was Joel Embiid because he was giving you. Go ahead.
But a lot of people look at centers, and here's the problem. Like you look at a guy 7'1", when you don't see too many people their size, and then you've got the patented skyhook, which was the only unstoppable move in the history of basketball. And then you've got a situation where you're saying, okay, he's great, but in the same breath, that's entirely different than Air Jordan. It's entirely different than LeBron. It's entirely different than Kobe or Steph. You look at it from that perspective.
Because you know why the bigs don't get the credit? They need a small guy to get them the ball.
That's right.
Where Michael Jordan just take the ball and go by himself. Or
and
LeBron can take the ball and go. Exactly. So that's why the bigs don't get the credit that they deserve, the Wilt Chamberlain and things of that nature.
Which, by the way, interesting point that I'm going to bring up to you, Shannon, because I never thought of this before, but based on our earlier conversation on First Take, we're talking about KD, right? And we talked about why he's not as great as he is in a future Hall of Fame. He's not in the GOAT conversation. You know what else you just brought up that I thought about? He is damn near 7 feet, and he don't need anybody to give him the ball because he can handle and shoot from three. So why weren't you more aggressive? Why weren't you more assertive? Even though he's skinny, he's 7 feet tall. With that game, KD could have done even more than what we've seen him do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, meanwhile, can I keep it rolling?
Sure.
Oh,
yes.
Awesome. Thank you. I can do whatever I want. On YouTube, I'm the boss, America. Meanwhile, Embiid wasn't the only one putting up big numbers. Karl-Anthony Towns went off scoring 62 versus the Hornets. 44 of that 62 was in the first half. That breaks Kobe Bryant's record, Kobe Bryant, for the most in a first half since they started tracking that stat way back in the 90s. The Wolves, however, did not get the dub. Here's their coach on why.
It was an absolute disgusting performance of defense and immature basketball. I mean, there's lots of times when just because you've scored 2 or 3 or 4 points in a row or baskets in a row, it doesn't, obviously we're going to try to feed a hot hand, look for a hot hand, but at some point we got to get back to making the right play. We got to get back to doing the right things.
All right, Shannon, tell me this. Do you have a problem with how the T-Wolves played?
Yes, because the T-Wolves are the number 1 defense in basketball, and they allowed the 27th offense to shoot 57%. Brandon Miller, Bridges had their way. LaMelo Ball had 18 points and 13 assists. Yeah, that's atrocious. You're the number 1 defensive team. You can't allow a team that's near the bottom offensively to shoot that high percentage. So it tells me everybody was standing around, and it's like, you know what? Okay, go get yours, Cat. And then y'all let them go get 4 or 5. They got outscored by almost 20 points in the fourth. At one point in time, Stephen A., the Hornets had outscored them 34-14 in the fourth quarter. You can't allow that. If you're saying you are a championship contending team and you get a team down like the Hornets, you can't allow them to come back. Chris Finch is absolutely right. They just stood around and let the Hornets get whatever they want. And when they tried to shut it down, once you let a team get a rhythm, you're not going to shut them down. So he's absolutely right. I got a problem with the way they played defense last night because they are the number 1 rated defensive team in basketball.
Me too, Shannon. Because I'm thinking about Karl-Anthony Towns, and yes, I loved seeing what he was doing for the first 3 quarters. He had 44 points at halftime, man. He had 58 or so in the end of 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, you went 2 for 10 from the field and 4 points. And you allowed one of the league dormant teams to overcome and erase an 18-point deficit and beat you. That's a problem. That's a problem when Karl-Anthony Towns. It is a problem collectively for their team. It is a problem for their maturity because that's what people have pointed to when they've looked at the Minnesota Timberwolves over the last 2 years. They said, when are y'all going to be mature enough because they got talent? When are you going to be mature enough to recognize the talent that you have and the discipline that you need to implement so you don't allow these moments to slip through your fingers? Today, it's a regular season game in January. 3 months from now, it's a damn playoff game in April. That's
Hold
the
on.
problem.
Stephen A., wait a minute. I just heard you speak yesterday and days before in glowing terms about Anthony Edwards.
You're damn
Where
right
was
I
he?
did.
Yeah.
Are you saying I was wrong?
Yeah, big
Are you
He
saying I
had
was
9
wrong?
points. He had 9 points.
Time out.
He had 9 points.
I have an explanation. I have an explanation for that.
Sure you do.
Because
What is
you were
it?
playing, excuse me, you were playing the role of spectator because this brother was dropping 58 points in 3 quarters and you were up 18. That's why. And then since
Whoa.
you spent the first 3 quarters not really shooting the basketball, when it was time for you to sort of offset the doldrums that kicked in the 4th quarter, you were cold, you were out of rhythm, and it didn't happen for one
That ain't
night.
got nothing to do with me. No, if he's what you said he is, you can't be
Come
cold.
on.
Now you
One
take
night,
the game over.
One night, we're making a big deal about Cat because we need to see it more. Anthony Edwards showing up night in, night out, averaging
He
26
didn't show up
games.
last night, like Michelle and Daniel
That's one
Jello
night.
said. If he's your man, he wasn't last night.
Well, listen, if he wasn't last
Shannon.
night, don't he get an opportunity to make up for it? I think you've had time to make up for it, and you missed out on
But
one night.
You
Shannon
can't
Sharpe.
make up. You can't make up for what's been done. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Excuse me. I heard Club Shay Shay say, yo, man, you had a many nights, but one night it wasn't that great, but I got an opportunity to come back because of the nights I gave beforehand.
Okay.
That's what you said.
All right.
This is YouTube.
This is
YouTube.
time.
The point is, that's what you
This is time
said.
to say bye.
Yeah.
It's time to say bye.
All
Oh,
right.
we saying Black? Oh, Disney Unplugged. Check us
Disney
out next
Unplugged.
week.
Shannon and Stephen A.
You both are wild. And you should be grateful I'm here to be your eyes, your ears, and keep you both out of trouble. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to tune into First Take weekdays 10 a.m. Eastern and check back here for more exclusive YouTube content. See you tomorrow.